bamba, bambalela. You must never give up. No, never give up. No, never give up. No, never give up. No, never, 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 never. Oh, never, never give up.
Good morning, and welcome to Emerson Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We are so glad you are here. My name is Leslie McLean. I'm a member of the worship team, of the leadership development team, and the Emerson Choir. I offer a special welcome to those of you joining us for the first time, either in person or online. We are grateful that you are here and look forward to getting to know you. As a Unitarian Universalist congregation, we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of each and every person through anti-racism, anti-oppression, support for the LGBTQ+ communities, working for reproductive justice, voting rights, and other issues as the world calls us to side with love. We seek to build a beloved community, not only here, but in our surrounding area. Everyone is invited to join us for social time following the service. Those here in person are invited to join us for light refreshments in our fellowship hall that is on the first floor down this hallway behind the sanctuary. At 11:25, please join us for religious exploration and small group activities. There will be worship reflections here in the sanctuary, and additional offerings are listed in your order of service. If you are viewing online, we hope to meet you soon in the future. Now we pause to light our chalice as a symbol of our shared Unitarian Universalism faith. As I read these words, Reverend Christina will light our chalice. May this flame remind us of the value of opening our minds to the ideas and perspectives of those unlike ourselves, and symbolize the bright light stories bring to our lives. Now, in the spirit of love in the beloved community, let's greet and welcome each other to this new day as we share our congregational affirmation, "We need not think alike to love alike." And in the spirit of love in the beloved community, let's greet and welcome each other to this new day in person. Those in the sanctuary, feel free to move around to offer greetings, and for those online, please use the chat to introduce yourself or unmute to say hello. I'm glad people are so enthusiastic this morning. So our opening words come from Caitlin Moran of the Huffington Post, from a story she wrote titled, libraries, cathedrals of our souls. A library in the middle of a community is a cross between an emergency exit, a life raft, and a festival. They are cathedrals of the mind, hospitals of the soul, theme parks of the imagination. On a cold, rainy island, they are the only sheltered public spaces where you are not a consumer, but a citizen instead. A human with a brain and a heart and a desire to be uplifted, rather than a customer with a credit card and an inchoate need for stuff. A mall, the shops, are places where your money makes the wealthy wealthier. But a library is where the wealthy's taxes pay for you to become a little more extraordinary instead. A satisfying reversal, a balancing of the power. Now please rise in body or voice and join as we sing together in song number 368, Now Let Us Sing.
I am Reverend Christina Branum-Martin. It is so good to be with you today as your minister and as a person doing an altar call of all things in a Unitarian Universalist congregation. I ask for an altar call of the blessing of our banned books. Do any of you have any? Do any of you have any to add to the stack? And I see a lot of people going, oh, darn, I forgot the book. So if you want to yell out a title that you would have brought, and like me, I've given away a lot of my books, or I have them digitally. What title or two come to mind? Yell it out. Yeah.
Huckleberry Finn.
Wow.
That's her in the ride.
And some of those we actually have up here. And I want to tell you that I didn't even bring up the 40 or 50 from the religious education library that we've got in the library over there. I did bring a few, maybe 6 or 7 of our children's books. Even one of them is the book Imagine, which is John Lennon's lyrics put to a beautiful book. Can you imagine? So today we are celebrating the freedoms long established by our nation and the ones we will continue to fight to uphold. Things like the freedom of speech, the freedom of the press, the freedom from the establishment of a national religion. And we also honor today protecting those freedoms that are being done by librarians. And I understand there are a couple of librarians who are members of our congregation. Raise your hand if you're a librarian. There are also booksellers, teachers, authors, and members of our Emerson Library Committee. Raise your hand, teachers, authors, and committee members. I can say that it would not be possible for librarians to do their jobs without the teachers who go seeking out those books to teach our students, so thank you. I declare today, here, may we read all the books written, even the books with archaic language, even the books with material deemed offensive, even the books that affirm diversity of the human race, and the books which normalize varied sexualities and expressions, books which share multidimensional perspectives of history. These are the books that have taught us about who we are, about the histories from which we come, and the world in which we dream of. So we offer our blessings today and our gratitude for what we have learned from them. May we keep them on hand for our children, and I understand somebody didn't have enough books to bring because they'd already handed them off all the way to their grandchildren. May that continue to be the case. And may we make space for the books we have yet to read and those that will illuminate our days to come. Would you do something that may be a little unusual for us? I'd like you to raise your hands, and may the energy of all of us in this room bless those books and bless each other. Blessings. What I'm going to do later with the thank you cards that are in the front that says, "Thank you, librarians," on big pieces of poster board. Please sign them if you haven't had a chance to. The children are going to stand holding those. We'll take a picture, and we're going to send those to the 23 library branches that are in Woodstock, Sequoia, and Cobb County. I look forward to sharing with them our thanks for all that they do. And I'm going to grab something real fast. We're going to move into a time of sharing our joys and our concerns and our sorrows from this community. And Leslie is going to place stones in the bowl. Those stones are smooth and beautiful, especially when water, you can see all their colors. And they have weight also, weight of the things that sometimes we carry in our hearts. And the water that receives them hopefully gives some smoothness and calm to our lives. Each week, we have a book in the back where you are invited to write a joy or a sorrow or a concern, or you can email it in, and we can add it to the book. You can email that at any time to pastoralcare@emersonuu.org. And the first stone that we place each week is in honor of the Cherokee and the Muskogee nations, of the indigenous people who lived on this land before us. The second stone is in honor of those who were wrongly enslaved here for hundreds of years and who labored on this land. And a third stone is in recognition that there are countries in current conflicts around the globe, and many of us know that our hearts are broken as we consider what people are going through. I want to share, as we put a stone in for Joe and Susan Tomachek. They are dealing with the time that Joe has been in the hospital. Joe right now is recovering at Cobb Center for Nursing and Health. He is making progress towards returning home following a stay at Kennestone Hospital. And last night, I brought Susan a pizza. Also, would you put in a request for a joy that Trin Barron has asked, an acknowledgement that Harley has faced her fears and got one of her ears pierced. Compliments are welcome. And this last one comes with such joy. This is from Dominic Thomas. Elizabeth finished cancer treatment and is cancer-free for now. And here's another. Theodore completed his Eagle Scout project work, making a path so that kids can walk to school. And the last one is Clark and I made a table in his treehouse. All right. It is such a wonderful thing to know that we are here for each other in times when we are carrying difficult things and also when we are celebrating joyous ones. If you would put a stone in for all the things that have yet to be shared. As we close, would you join me in the Buddhist prayer of loving kindness? May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be free from harm and suffering. May we all be well in body, heart, and mind. May we all be at peace. Blessed be. And you're going to read this one.
On behalf of the Emerson Social Justice Team, I'd like to let you know that this month we will be supporting Freedom University. One way we put our prayer of loving kindness into action is by partnering with other organizations who work to bring love, kindness, and justice to the world. Freedom University is an Atlanta-based school that gives assistance to undocumented students who are unable to access higher education in Georgia because they are required to pay out-of-state tuition. Freedom University provides tuition-free, rigorous college preparation classes and college and scholarship application assistance. As a result of Freedom University efforts, 50% of their students have earned full scholarships to college over the last 4 academic years. For those in the sanctuary, as the basket is passed, please feel free to offer a donation or see in your order of service other ways to give. For those online, go to emersonuu.org and select the Giving tab to donate. All donations, unless otherwise specified, are shared equally between Emerson and our partner organization.
I invite the young and young at heart to come forward and listen and see and participate in a beautiful story.
Good morning. When you come up and before you sit down, you can choose one of our crowns, or you can pick a wand, or you can pick a necklace or a ring. Make yourself sparkly this morning for our story. Do you want to come sit over by me? Come sit over here. All right. So, We're getting one for our sisters who are not here, so that's good. All right, today's story is called My Princess Boy. Now, you've heard the minister talk about banned books. And what that means is other people don't want people to read them, right? They try to stop people. And this is one of those books. And we don't support that. We like people being able to read whatever they want, right? All right. And I want you to know on the back of this book, the author talks about she wrote this because she was afraid that when her son went to school wearing a dress in kindergarten, that he would be bullied. And so she wrote this to help us all talk about it so that we can have conversations with our moms and dads and safe adults in our lives. All right? So without further ado, let's start with our story. My Princess Boy. My Princess Boy is 4 years old. He likes pretty things. Pink is his favorite color. He plays dress up in girly dresses, and he dances like a beautiful ballerina. My Princess Boy has a cool brother. His brother plays baseball and soccer, and his brother dances with my Princess Boy. My Princess Boy loves his brother. My Princess Boy loves his dad. His dad tells my Princess Boy how pretty he looks in a dress. His dad holds his hands and tells him to twirl. My Princess Boy smiles and hugs his dad. How many of you hug your dad? Yeah? It's a good thing, right? My Princess Boy has play dates with boys and girls. He likes to climb trees in his Princess Boy tiara crown. And when he plays dress up, he likes to change clothes a lot. He wears a green ballet leotard and dances with his friends. I love my Princess Boy. When we go shopping, he is the happiest when looking at girls' clothes. But when he says he wants to buy a pink bag or a sparkly dress, people stare at him. And when he buys girls' things, they laugh at him. And then they laugh at me. It hurts us both. Once, my Princess Boy wore a dress at his birthday party. He welcomed his friends to his home and he said, "I am a Princess Boy." He put on jewelry and he liked how pretty he looked. And he waved his Princess Boy wand. And then my Princess Boy was a princess for Halloween. He went trick-or-treating with his brother. One woman laughed at him because he was in a princess dress. My Princess Boy asked, "Why did she laugh at me?" I told him some people don't think boys should wear dresses. But a Princess Boy can wear a dress at his school, and I will not laugh at him. And a Princess Boy can wear pink, and I will tell him how pretty he looks. A Princess Boy can play with me in pretty girl clothes, and I will still play with him. If you see a Princess Boy, will you laugh at him? No. Good answer. Will you call him a name? No. Will you play with him?
They're like one sitting on
And will you like him for who he is? Absolutely.
but it
course
wasn't
you
about the
will.
princess. But
Our Princess
like
Boy
a
is
priest.
happy because we love him for who he is. My Princess Boy is your Princess Boy. All right? Good story? Yeah? Excellent. All right, if we want to keep that for the table, that's fine. Shall we sing our song of dedication?
Thus do we
I invite you to take a deep breath and feel your body comfortably supported by the chair. Today we'll have a moment of silence after our meditation and prayer, and this meditation continues the theme of celebrating banned books. For many of us, our lives have been changed by books, which sometimes offend others. Books that challenged our childish perceptions, books that visualized our emerging identities, books that question our perceived notions. Some stories are controversial because they depict the past, and others because they envision a future. Bring these books to mind, those books that changed your life. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, The Color Purple, Anne Frank, Mouse, Huckleberry Finn are windows to the horrors of the past. 1984, A Brave New World, The Handmaid's Tale. Fahrenheit 451, our crystal balls gazing at potential futures. And some stories act as a mirror to our own souls during childhood. Junie B. Jones, A Wrinkle in Time, Tales of the City, All Boys Aren't Blue. And some stories helped us through adolescence. Genderqueer, Looking for Alaska, A Fault in Our Stars, Annie on My Mind, The Hate You Give, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, The Catcher in the Rye. Banning books is a blight on the soul of this nation. A colleague wrote that it is equivalent that every time a book is banned, it is like killing a mockingbird. Our children are watching, and we are here to stand up for what is right. May it be so. Let us take a moment of silence. Amen, and blessed be.
I don't really remember not being able to read, but I do remember clearly sitting in my first grade classroom with my reading group, applying those phonics rules we had learned to sound out a new word. When one classmate suddenly made the connections and got it right, we were all excited at having learned the word wheat. Thus began my lifelong love of reading. Once I could read, Saturday mornings meant going to the local library for the story hour and to check out new books. My brothers and I were allowed to choose the books. As I got older, when I ran out of books to read, I read everything else that came in the house: the local bi-weekly paper, my father's Wall Street Journal, mailers and magazines that came from Common Cause, Smithsonian, Red Book, Reader's Digest, you name it. I read it all for the adventures, the entertainment, the information to be gained, and the new ideas and places that were described in such detail that appealed to my sense of imagination. When I was in the 9th grade, I read To Kill a Mockingbird and was enthralled with it. I was surprised when I learned that in some places it had been banned, and even at that age I questioned why someone would prohibit anyone from reading such a powerful book. I see now that books are banned out of fear and a need for control. It is fear of the unknown, fear that something presents as a threat to beliefs or values, fear that a child will learn something different, or fear that they might be exposed to new ways of thinking or will be validated in their own thinking. Removing books from a public school library is a way to control what children see and hear and learn, especially when it doesn't match what is being taught at home. I was fortunate to be encouraged by my parents to be an independent thinker. And, as parents ourselves, Bill and I took our responsibility seriously to ensure that our daughters had a broad range of experiences and educational opportunities, including reading lots of books. We encouraged them to choose the books they wanted to read, and this actually led to many interesting dinner conversations when they chose a book that took a different approach. We thought it more important that they develop the skills to critically assess things and make responsible decisions through their choices. And we thought it was important that they be allowed to enjoy reading without fear of getting in trouble, to build their imaginations and be exposed to new ideas. Did they at some point in their school years encounter books that were not necessarily what we would have chosen for them? Probably. But the point is, they had the opportunity to learn to make those choices. As a matter of semantics, the Marietta City School Board has recently gone on record as having, quote, removed, end quote, but not banned the 25 books. The two members interviewed went on to say that if a student had the book in their possession, it would not be a problem. Whether it's called banning books or removing books, the process doesn't work. People will still find a way to read the books, and hopefully, despite the books being taken away, may the person who most needs to read that specific book find it and let it make the difference for them. As the anthropologist Margaret Mead once said, children must be taught how to think, not what to think.
I have been changed by books in my life. You probably have too. And these books that we have collected here today are a testament to the power of stories, to the power of the truth that we need of history. These books offer us information about our own bodies, about our own sexualities, about our own choices to control our own destinies. And this is what so many are afraid of, that our children will have access to these books, and thus the information that allows them to control their own destinies. Out of a cry of moral outrage, people in local areas seek to control what books are available to our children in public libraries and school programs. And by restricting them, ultimately banning books from public access. Our children need us to defend these books, any of these books. As Isaac Asimov once wrote, any book worth reading is a book that is banned. So this is not new. I did a little research on this topic, and it turns out that people have been banning books and their authors and burning books and their authors since 213 BCE. They did this to extinguish new ideas that challenge the empire. And here in this land eventually to become the United States, the history of banning books goes all the way back to 1637. In Quincy, Massachusetts, Thomas Morton published New England Canaan, where he criticized the religious practices of the Puritans, which happened to be some of our theological forebears. That's a topic for another day. The book became the first banned book as the Puritans sought to control his ideas by banning his books and eventually putting him in jail until his death. In modern history, the wave of book banning first started as a moral argument in 1953. Now, what book do you think it might be? Yell out a name. 1953. What? Grapes of Wrath, that's an idea. 1954. Robin Hood. The Indiana Textbook Commission banned it because it had the ideas of robbing from the rich and giving to the poor, and this was too similar to communism. Local has been the strategy when it comes to book bans because in our Constitution and our Supreme Court upholdings, they have declared that censorship and book banning have no place in the federal laws of the U.S. Our freedoms of press, speech, and religion take precedence over the comforts of the individuals. May that be so. What's happening locally all around our country highlights how a few people can garner power to control information, especially if it's information about gender, sexuality, history, or issues of race, and even critical thinking. The current wave of book banning is not about banning books for adults. Instead, it centers around controlling what is considered age-appropriate for children's content. And it usually starts with a few people putting in a petition about a collection of books to have them become restricted in the library. That's the first step. This is for the sake of the children. Often these are books written for the ages of 12 to 18. Can you remember your life when you were 12 to 18? Or as I look around at those younger in the room, you know that you need books for you to grow into who you are. Books are so important. These books that are considered dangerous are moved into the adult section. Well, I promise you, I will march my child up to the adult section as needed, okay? But what about that child who might identify as LGBTQ, whose parents are not affirming, because not only will they have to explain what they're reading, but why they need access to the adult section of the library. Moving these books to the adult section of the library is not the solution because it puts vulnerable children in a more tenuous situation. And as we have heard from the LGBTQ communities, the ability to read about the people who look and love and live like them is suicide prevention. This is a life or death matter. Activist Sam Olson says, "It doesn't stop with the book titled The Pronoun Book when it's moved to the adult section. It doesn't stop when books like How It All Blew Up or The Hate You Give are tossed into a bonfire or dropped into a bucket of water, which has happened. This intentional destruction of books is about marginalized people and the proxy for violence against marginalized people in their lives." After restrictions to move the books to the adult section of the library, then comes the petitions to ban them completely, to remove them from the library stacks completely. Some book banners have even called in bomb threats to libraries and schools. They threaten the jobs and lives of librarians. Oklahoma teacher Summer Boismeyer posted a QR code to access free banned books digitally in the Brooklyn Public Library website. She lost her job. She had death threats against her, and she had to move across the country into a state that had more acceptable prohibitions against book banning for the sake of herself and her family. One of my Unitarian Universalist ministerial colleagues, Reverend Julie Conradi, declared that people who wish to ban books are acting as domestic terrorists because they are trying to bring about a fascist regime in this country. At the Ozark-Dale County Library in Alabama, there was a board meeting in August of 2023, and one of the board members itself said, "I will bring a match to deal with the books that I consider inappropriate." So what are we supposed to do in the face of such stark threats of violence? Stephen Chbosky says, "Banning books gives us silence when we need speech. It closes our ears when we need to listen. It makes us blind when we need sight." And we all know the author Judy Blume, right? Who wrote over 40 books for children, mostly going through adolescence. Judy Blume, all of her books have been banned. Can you imagine? Can you imagine trying to read a book about a 12-year-old girl who starts menstruation and having to go to the adult section to find that? She says, "Let children read whatever they want, and then talk about it with them afterwards. If parents and kids can talk together, we won't have as much censorship because we won't have as much fear." Librarians continue to do their job despite the heat around them and the books they protect. One brave library board president highlighted that American libraries are required to preserve the library's independence from undue political influence and any threats of censorship. After all, libraries promote intellectual freedom for all the community citizens. So these books aren't these bans aren't about books in particular, are they? They are about people. They are about power. Abraham Joshua Herschel, a rabbi himself, wrote, "Prayer is meaningless unless it is subversive, unless it seeks to overthrow and to ruin the pyramids of callousness, hatred, opportunism, and falsehoods." May we pray together today for our actions as parents, as religious people, as a community, as citizens. May we pray today that all act in the benefit of freedom, the freedom to read. That was the theme of the American Library Association. Every October is a month that honors that books are being banned and that censorship needs to end. I know I am preaching to the choir up here. But as Unitarian Universalists, the situation with our libraries is a religious issue. We can together show solidarity to those in the midst of these challenges and display to the wider community that faith communities are and continue to be relevant. And you know how we do that? We do that simply by offering our Whole Lives program to our children. Our Whole Lives is a curriculum for sexuality, awareness, and understanding that begins in the ages of pre-K and then goes through elementary and middle, high school, young adult, and even older adult. Our Whole Lives is a comprehensive sexuality curriculum that provides for us information about who we are and who we want to become with each other, which is loving and respecting people who understand consent, our bodies, and our choices about our lives. By having books that complement those curriculums like It's Perfectly Normal, or even Our Bodies Ourselves, which came off my bookshelf. I still have the copy that I had from 1977 when I was a child on my bookshelf at home. It's kind of fallen apart. Our religious life here matters in the world. Our religious values can make this world a better place. We affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and we support each person in their pursuit of self-exploration, healing, and wholeness. We support comprehensive sexuality education. We recognize that identities are not dangerous, ethnicities are not ranked, and that all people deserve to be represented and taught accurate history of their ancestors. More importantly, we know that scientifically, that deep reading makes us more empathetic. It reminds us of our interconnection to the interdependent web of life itself. And as we have learned harshly of late, our freedoms are not guaranteed, so we must work together. We need to support our local libraries. We need to support our local librarians. We need to uphold the teachers that use them and read books in class. And we need to stand up to the PTAs who attempt to restrict our books and provide important information to our children. So, and I forgot. I had a library card in my wallet that I was going to put in my pocket to say, use your library card. And it's actually my daughter's library card, which is even more important. My prayer today is that we will stand up together, that we will use our library cards, that we will go to the local library, and that we will check out items and go to the programs and thank the librarians for their important service. That we will attend board meetings and speak up if you are so inclined. May us write also to the library boards, to local officials, and to the governor. There was a counter-protest this past Thursday at the state capitol, and some of the library committee here of this congregation went to participate to say that we stand up for liberty and freedom to read. Unfortunately, I was not able to go, and I feel really badly about that. So when there's a next opportunity for me to do so, I will be there. I will be there with my collar on to show that religious perspectives don't have to mean a closed mind. Religious perspectives can be one of opening us to information and to freedom. There are big thank you cards out there if you haven't signed it for our librarians. And we will send copies of our children holding pictures with those in our big thank you notes that we will send. And I want to let you know that I've written a letter. I'll close this sermon with this letter to the librarians that I'll send with a card. To the librarians of the surrounding neighborhoods of Emerson Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Marietta, Georgia. We thank you for your work as the guardian of stories. You are the protectors of knowledge. We are aware that libraries have become a battleground of culture wars. So on February 4th, 2024, we gathered as a congregation to bless the banned books that have changed our lives for the better. We honored the librarians, the booksellers, the teachers, and the authors in our midst. As Unitarian Universalists, we recognize that banning books in the classroom is the start to the erasure of history and stops the progress that allows our children the opportunity to learn in accepting and nurturing environments. The banning of books removes the possibility of conversation. Banning titles and aggressively policing books for inappropriate content can limit students' exposure to great literature and prevent students from learning both about injustice and oppression and the ways that we can overcome them. We support the freedom to read. We champion free expression. We believe in intellectual freedom. And we celebrate free speech by exercising our constitutional right to read. And you, the librarians, provide space for this. You are the role models of reading. You support inquiry and scholarship. You serve all patrons, and you innovate your spaces and work to ensure that all patrons know the vast resources of the public library. And there is so much that you do behind the scenes that we can never truly appreciate. So we acknowledge all that you do to keep our libraries open and accessible and relevant. Through your dedication, we learn more about ourselves, each other, and the world around us. Your work has the power to save lives and encourage self-determination by the books you choose to shelve. You are the light of the world. May your work continue to clarify, illuminate, and shine brightly. Signed, Reverend Christina Branum-Martin, the minister and the members of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Marietta at Emerson. I am proud of sending such a message saying that we declare that freedom to read is important to us. Let us sing together as we close this service a song that many of us might know from our childhood. We Are a Gentle, Angry People by Holly Near. I sang that with a group of 1 million more people, the Women's March in Washington, D.C. And there are many lyrics to that song, and I would say if we would add one today, which is, we are singing for your lives, our children among us. I'm going to close with the words of the great 19th century Unitarian minister Theodore Parker. And you might not know that he was a staunch abolitionist, and he sheltered escaping enslaved peoples in the basement of his home as part of the Underground Railroad. He wrote, "Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere. Its temple all space, its shrine a good heart, its creed all truth, and its ritual works of love, and its profession of faith divine living." We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry into our hearts and out into the world until we are together again.
I think we have one announcement from Mary Miller.
Good morning. I'm Mary Miller, and I'm a member of the Social Justice Leadership Team, the Choir, and the Activities Committee. For 2 weeks in February, we are highlighting the social justice opportunities available through Emerson after the service in the Fellowship Hall, this week and then in 2 weeks. Based on a deep love of humanity and the earth, our Unitarian Universalist faith calls us to act for justice, equity, and compassion. Through our many justice programs and activities, Emerson works to raise awareness and to advocate for and partner with people in our community who face injustice. We strive to understand systems of oppression and work to make changes at the societal level. We invite you to engage in this work with us. Emerson's social justice group is comprised of the Social Justice Leadership Team and the Social Justice Action Network. The purpose of the Social Justice Leadership Team is to organize and prioritize Emerson's social justice work and education in light of our Unitarian Universalist faith with an understanding of the root causes of white supremacy white supremacy culture, and social inequities. We partner with others in this work toward creating the beloved community. And the Social Justice Action Network are Emersonians who want to be made aware of opportunities for education and action and to participate as they are inspired and able. Come find us during social time in the fellowship hall, and let's talk about justice. Thanks.
As our service ends, go now in peace and take peace wherever you go.